welcome to COS Indiana Live. There's never been a more important time in our history than now if you believe it's time to stand up and be free. Stay tuned and come back every Monday at 7 p.m. as our state director and host, Dale Parrish, present the need for self-governance. Our COS Indiana vision statement is to build a grassroots community of Hoosier citizens and legislators dedicated to the constitutional concept of self-governance. So, take it away, Dale.
Well, thank you, Maringo Mike, for that introduction. My name is Dale Parrish. I am the State Director for Convention of States here in Indiana, and I want to welcome you to our broadcast this evening. We've got a great broadcast lined up for you. As I say every time, every Monday evening, every broadcast is a great broadcast. So glad you could join us this evening. I want to, first of all, tell you once again that we are live streaming now on our YouTube channel, COS Indiana. So for those of you that don't have Facebook or can't view us on Facebook, we now have another alternative for you, and that is live streaming on our YouTube channel, COS Indiana. Let me go through the segments of our broadcast briefly, just to let you know what to expect this evening. The first segment will be what we refer to as the discussion topic. Sometimes we'll actually have a topic that we want to discuss, perhaps in a panel format. But most of the time, what I like to do is I like to bring on individuals that are in leadership positions in our state. And sometimes we'll even bring in someone from leadership at the national level. But most of the time, it'll be leadership from our state. And tonight, we have one of those individuals. We have a young man by the name of Richard Loken. And Richard is a region captain for us. He covers regions 1 and 2. So we'll be bringing him on very shortly here so that you can get to know him. He can tell you what he's involved in so that you'll be familiar with another one of our great region captains. After the first segment, after Richard, we'll do the information segment. In this segment, I'll bring up my PowerPoint and we'll let you know some of the resources that we have available to us here in Indiana, as well as go over a few numbers as to how we're performing here in the state. And I'll tell you right now, we're doing very well here in Indiana. So I always enjoy giving the numbers out because we're just doing such a great job here in Indiana. After this segment, I'll do my best to recognize viewers that have tuned in this evening. So if you are a viewer, if you're viewing and you would like to make a comment or ask a question, please do so in the chat section. And like I said, I'll do my best to recognize you when I get to that segment. The final segment is what I call the invitation. Now, in this segment, we'll wrap things up for the evening. I'll tell you what to expect at our next broadcast, next Monday evening, the 12th of October. And then finally, I'm going to invite you to join us here in Convention of States in Indiana. And that's why I call this the invitation segment. And yes, I'm going to invite you to join in Convention of States and join us in our efforts here in the state to promote Convention of States. So without further ado, then I want to bring up Richard for our first segment. And let me unmute him, get him ready to come up. And there he is. Hi, Richard.
Good evening. How are you?
Just fine, just fine. Glad you could join us tonight, my man. Let me get your name up here so everybody can know your name. Richard Loken. And Richard, now you are, as I mentioned, you are a region captain. You cover regions 1 and 2 in our state, which is primarily up in the northwest corner of the state. But you want to tell us a little bit about the amount of geography and a little bit about the regions that you cover.
All right. Well, Congressional District 1 has a little over 700,000 people in that district. And it's all the way from like East Chicago through Gary and Hammond, all the way through Valpo, Mishawaka, and then down to parts of LaPorte and Knox. And then District 2 covers the other part of like Mishawaka and South Bend, and then goes down to Plymouth, Rochester, Akron, Warsaw. And that area has a little over 720,000 people in that area. So regions 1 and 2, a little over 1.4 million people. So it's a pretty good size area.
Pretty good size, and you've got some good cities involved, some decent sized cities involved in your region. So all of our region captains have a lot of territory to cover. So you've certainly got your share, I should say. Well, Richard, what I always like to do with guests that I have on, especially leadership individuals, I like to ask you to tell us your COS story. Not your life story, but just your how, when, and why you got involved in Convention of States. So what's your COS story, Richard?
Well, a couple of years ago, I was listening to Mark Levin, and he was being rather passionate and vocal about the current political situation. And he had mentioned Convention of States, and I really wasn't too aware of it. And my daughter had also heard, and she said, well, Dad, he sounds almost as angry as you are. And I was like, well, that's not angry, that's passion. And Mark's like, well, what are you going to do about it? So then I looked it up, and I went online, I filled out the information. And shortly after that, I received a phone call. I'm not sure if it was from you or from George. And that's where, unbeknownst to me, I was kind of being vetted about my history and would I like to be a district captain. And next thing you know, I'm taking training from Rachel, and I'm a district captain. And then I progressed up through the ranks, and here I am as a regional captain for regions 1 and 2.
All right, great. Well, that Richard is correct. That's how we like to start people out as district captains. And Richard did such a great job as a district captain that we thought he would be a great region captain. So we've got him in that role now. Okay, great. Now, Richard, I know you're involved. You've got a group there in your area. Tell us about your group, We the People.
Okay. We the People of Marshall Fulton County is a conservative group, and they're dedicated to restoring the principles and values of the Constitution that was given to us by our founding fathers. And they try to be actively informed and involved in the country's political process at the local, state, and the federal level. So it's a bunch of like-minded individuals, mostly conservative. There are some liberal libertarians, which We the People, that's what it's all about. It's us coming together and just trying to stick to our Constitution, our principles, and to keep on informing others and helping others to become more active and aware of, their civic duties in their towns, and actually our counties.
Okay. All right, good. How often does your group meet?
Well, we meet on the second Thursday of each month. And if we have additional items that are coming up, and we'll get a bunch of activists together, and we'll go to the city council meeting, the school board meetings, county council. It really changes depending on the current political situation and what's happening.
Okay.
But we all meet in our public library here in Plymouth for about 2 hours. Okay. Actually, this coming Thursday.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is something that we encourage all of our district captains to do and region captains, as far as that's concerned, is to conduct meetings of this nature. We call them town hall meetings. But in Richard's case, he's actually got a group in place, so it's even more than just a town hall meeting. And I'm sure, Richard, you get an opportunity to talk about convention of states quite a bit, I would imagine, right?
Yes, we talk about our Constitution, Convention of States. We talk about self-governance, and it helps people to really become more aware and understand. And believe it or not, a lot of people agree, and that's a great thing.
Now, again, where do you have your meetings, Richard? Where?
At the Plymouth Library, and in here in town.
Plymouth. Okay,
and Plymouth. We meet right now because of that course due to COVID and whatnot. We meet at 6 o'clock in the evening, and we usually in the meeting for about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, depending on the topic of discussion. This week, hopefully, we'll be talking to some candidates that are running for our county council.
Okay. Now, Richard, anyone that's interested can show up at the meeting and attend. Am I right? Yep, you're kind of frozen up there. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Anyone that's interested in attending can just come to the meeting?
Sure. We well, on our Facebook page, we're a closed group because we've had some agitators, and in order to provide the safety of the individual members, we had to close the page on Facebook. But we do advertise in our local paper that we're having a meeting, and we put out certain items for concerned citizens. And when we have guest speakers, we try to provide information for anyone that's willing to come out. Okay, great. All right.
Well, for 2021, Richard has agreed to take on some additional duties for us, and he's going to become what we call the education coordinator for our state. And so, Richard, can you tell us a little bit? I know this is a new position, and I know it's still being developed, but you want to give us a little idea as to what you have in mind for this position coming up?
Excuse me. Sure. What we're gonna hope to accomplish here is set up a virtual training and like a virtual town hall for every region within the state. We want to talk and educate people on the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, and we'd like to tie it in to the political and economic atmospheres based on each region. And hopefully we can work out to where we can get the representatives of that region to also be on the town hall and put out information and discuss things that are happening and how the Constitution plays a role in the activism and the events that are taking place within those areas.
Okay, great. Well, that sounds great. I think this is right in line with one of the goals that we have set for us here in the state for 2021, and that's to develop this education program and implement this education program in 2021. So Richard has decided to take that on for us. So tell us also, I understand you're going through some training yourself on the Constitution to become a coach. You want to tell us about the Patriot Academy?
Yes, the Patriot Academy. Rick Green put this up with Mark Meckler, and they're encouraging all COS volunteers and leaders throughout the COS to participate in this this educational program on the Constitution. I signed up not only to receive more information, but I also signed up as a coach. So that way, when I'm done with all the training, I'll be able to provide the educational training through webinars and providing PowerPoints also to our conservative group here in town, and just to help re-educate people on the Constitution and our Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, what our founding fathers actually had in mind in regards to how it should be followed and not how some people should interpret it. So it's a fast-paced course, and it's about 6 weeks. As a matter of fact, we're wrapping up this week, and they'll be starting another course, I believe, on the 12th of October, and it's free. If people go to the Patriot Academy and they look it up online, and they can read over the information. If they like it, they're more than welcome to sign up. And we've had over 2,000 people at one time receiving, you know, an up-to-date history lesson on the Constitution, and some of the areas that they actually teach from in Independence Hall, and some of the pamphlets and the booklets and the pieces of our history that they actually pick up and show you as they're discussing. It's pretty incredible. It's good stuff.
I've attended a few of those classes. They're very, very good. All right, let's we're gonna need to wrap up here. I do want you to put a plug in for this gun show coming up, the Crown Point Gun Show. This is something that we encourage. Again, we encourage district captains, region captains to attend shows of this nature. You want to tell us about this show coming up?
Sure. Actually, District Captain John Domka out of Hobart, this is his project. He's been setting up and working through getting all this approved, and it's going to be on the 24th and 25th of October. And we're still looking to have a couple of volunteers from COS, and we're waiting on responses back to help us come out and pass out information about Convention of States and self-governance, and maybe get a couple of people to sign the petition. And we're hoping to have a real good turnout.
Good.
John's put a lot of time and effort into it, and we're getting it all finalized.
Yeah, the sound kind of cut out there. Richard was referring to John Donka, our district captain up in Region 1, and we always have a good showing at gun shows of this nature. We see a lot of like-minded people, and they're very open to our message in Convention of States. Well, we've gone over just a little bit tonight, Richard, so I think that's a wrap for this evening. I want to thank you for joining us this evening, and continue doing such a great job as region captain for Regions 1 and 2. So have a good evening, Richard. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for having me, Don.
All right, Richard Logan. Richard's just doing a great job for us, and I always enjoy talking with Richard. He just does doing a great job for us. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Richard. I now want to move on to the information segment, and let me try my best to. There we go. Oh, I got it done very quickly this time. So you should be able to see a good view of my PowerPoint slides. So let's get started. The vision statement, once again, for the state of Indiana is to build a Hoosier grassroots community of citizens and legislators dedicated to the constitutional concept of self-governance. So that's our vision statement. Now, our mission, we have two main mission statement objectives here in Indiana. The first objective is to meet with all of our assigned and targeted legislators, state legislators. A targeted legislator is primarily a new legislator, someone who just came in to office in the last election cycle. So we want to meet with these legislators. We want to know where they stand as far as Convention of States. Do they support us? Do we need to talk? Do we need to educate them some on what we're trying to do? The second mission objective was to grow the grassroots to 52,000 supporters. Now, I'm going to be giving you some numbers here very shortly, and you will see that we are well on our way to accomplishing this goal. So 52,000 supporters was the goal for 2020. Resources that we have available to us here in Indiana. The main resource is our national website, conventionofstates.com. Now, embedded in that national website is our state website page, conventionofstates.com/Indiana. obviously a more focused look on our state. Social media platforms, main one is Facebook. Uh, the broadcast this evening comes to you through our state Facebook page, Convention of States, Indiana. YouTube channel, COS Indiana. Of course, we are now live streaming the broadcast through our YouTube channel. But our YouTube channel is also very much an educational resource for everyone. We have a number of narrated PowerPoint presentations. We have recordings of these broadcasts that we do every week. We also have links to a great podcast that our legislative liaison, Paul Phillips, does. It's called the Free to Be Free podcast. Paul does a great job on this podcast. So whenever he generates a new edition, we always put a link on our YouTube channel so you can easily access his podcast. Other social media, Twitter, hashtag COS Indiana, Instagram, Convention of States, Indiana. We're on LinkedIn and other platforms. So if you're into social media, you should not have any problem finding us through social media. Just a few quick numbers. In 2019, we surpassed 41,000 supporters here in the state of Indiana. We've been growing at a tremendous rate here in Indiana, and we're continuing that growth. In 2020, as I stated in our mission statement, we set a goal of 52,000. And I'm going to be reporting in October to our leadership group that we have already achieved that goal. So we're going to be going beyond that goal in 2020, and we've already set a very ambitious goal for 2021. So more of that later on as we get closer to the end of the year. From all these supporters, we have about 80 individuals in leadership positions at one level or another. About 50 of these individuals are in leadership positions that require, pretty good time commitment, while others are less time commitment. So the leadership positions, all that we have, require a different amount of time. If you would like to look at possibly getting involved in Convention of States, go to this national website again, conventionofstates.com, open an account, sign the petition, and that makes you a supporter right there. Now, if you want to get involved further, then click on the menu selection, Take Action, scroll down to where it says Become a Leader, and look at the different volunteer positions that we have available to you. And I strongly suggest when you look at anyone that you look at, pay close attention to the time commitment required, because they do differ. So please be aware of the estimated time commitment. Convention of States Basics. These are the three tenets that comprise our program nationally as well as here in the state: the problem, the solution, and the plan. We've identified in the problem, we've identified the abuses that we have, that we believe our federal government has committed. The problem, the solution that we believe is to call a Convention of States according to Article 5 of the Constitution, call a Convention of States for the purpose of proposing amendments to the Constitution that would address those abuses in the problem area. Now, then the final tenet is our plan to bring this about. So we won't go into detail on these three tenets tonight. I once again would refer you to our national website, conventionofstates.com. Click on the menu selection, Resources, and you'll find a wealth of information there to explain and educate you on the Convention of States basics. All right, let's go back then to our main screen here, and let me get that out of our way. And there I am again. Well, viewers, I don't have anyone that has signed in on the chat section tonight, so we will be able to move past that segment. And let me bring up the closing segment, or the invitation. If you remember, I said the final segment would be the invitation. And in this segment, we're going to wrap up tonight. I want to let you know that our next broadcast, of course, will be next Monday evening, October 12th. And we're going to have one of our new district captains on board as our guest that evening. His name is Mark Goatee, and Mark is really getting off to a good start as a district captain, and I think is going to be one of our outstanding district captains as he gets settled into his position. So Mark will be our guest next Monday evening, 7 p.m. In closing then, I always like to mention a quote that our president, Mark Meckler, is very good at doing. And his quote is, there's a fundamental question facing us in this country. And the question is not what should we do? The question is who will decide? And I think it's so appropriate in today's time. Obviously, we at Convention of States believe we, the people, should have a greater say-so and be more involved in making decisions on who decides. So with all the things that are going on in our country today, I believe many of them could be avoided if we, the people, played a bigger role in making these decisions. This is why we stress self-governance to a large extent in Convention of States. Self-governance, getting involved, not only in the federal government, but your state, community, local governments, to get involved, exercise your constitutional right of self-governance. So once again, the question is not what should we do, the question is who will decide. And we at Convention of States believe we, the people, should make more of these decisions. So with that, folks, I want to invite you to join Convention of States. First step to take is to go to our national website, conventionofstates.com, open an account, sign the petition, and that will get you involved. And if you want to maybe look into a leadership position, go to the menu selection, take action, and scroll down and look at those positions. We would love to have your involvement. So with that, I'm going to say good night to everyone and look forward to seeing you again next Monday evening, 7 p.m.